Good evening. So, tonight we're going to talk about chapter 10. So, I like very much this chapter because it has a lot of, if you go to the gospel and look it up about that, you see a lot of passages talking about the same subject with different apostles as well. So, it's very good. So, we're going to read a little bit of all those quotes here, and then we'll go to we're going to try to see what we can learn from that. So, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. For if you forgive men when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. Then we have this one here. If your brother sins against you, go and show him his fault, just between the two of you. If he listens to you, you have won your brother over. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Right? So, when you talk about forgiveness, it's a pretty good subject because if you have the opportunity to be on the lecture that we have on Saturday from Julio, he talked about forgiveness as well, right? So forgiveness goes hand in hand with mildness, right? And this is something that we understand it might be hard depending on what happened to us, right? What the other person did to us, but as a journey, there is always a beginning, right? So if you can start and give the first step as much as you can, and let's say with practice, you're going to be able to ace that, right? So even if it's hard, let's try our best to forgive each other, right? It's a sign of advancement of the soul, just as hate and rancor are marks of an unevolved soul. We already know that God, when He put us here, when He created us, we were pure and ignorant, right? And when we talk about those, how can I say that, those bad inclinations like hate and rancor, He knew that we would be able to ace those, to get rid of them as well, right? And of course, we are here, God wish that all of us evolve and become perfect spirits, right? So it will happen, right? So I like to take this point of view because sometimes people say, oh, it's so hard to evolve and it's so hard to forgive people, or it's so hard to get rid of bad tendencies. But if you keep just thinking about the negative side of it, you might get depressed, right? But by the other hand, if you think that God wish that all of us will become perfect spirits, it's a little bit easier to understand because it's a little bit easier to swallow that because you know it's going to happen. How long it's going to take, of course, it depends on us, right? But it's going to happen. People that can't forgive might go unnoticed by their fellow human beings, but not by God. Sometimes you hear a lot of people say, oh, I'll never forgive this person. This that happened to me, I'm not going to ever forget what this person did to me. And sometimes people talk about that, and they're proud of themselves. Say, no, I'm not going to forgive this person, ever. It was really, really bad. It might not sound very bad for the people that don't follow, that don't believe in God or don't believe in anything else. But by the time that you understand that forgive can free us from lots and lots of issues, you're going to see that this is something that we have to practice. We have to keep in mind that the only way that we can get rid of our issues with other people is forgiveness, right? And then we talk about 2 different ways of forgiveness, right? Of forgiving. So the first way is the way that Jesus taught us how to forgive, right? That's you really, really forgive this person, and there is no hidden intentions behind it. You forgive that person, you forgot what happened, you move on, and that's it, right? This is what God expects from us. And the second way is some people might think they are forgiving somebody, but the way that they do is say, no, I forgive you because I'm better than you. This is not the kind of forgiveness that Jesus came here to earth to taught us, right? This is not the kind of forgiveness that will help us to make amendments with our brothers. This is something that we might see, and is something that we shouldn't take as an example. So here on earth, we got this passage from Metal here. Let's go. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him on the way, or he might hand you over the judge, and the judge might hand you over the officer, and you might be thrown in prison. I tell you the truth. You will not get you're not going to get out until you have paid the last penny. This is something that if you read that passage and think about what the Spiritism brought to us, it's a little bit easier to understand that when we talk about problems that we have here on earth, we have somebody that it's hard to stay together, or maybe your boss or a coworker, somebody close to you that is hard for you to deal with. We already understand that those situations, they happen because of a reason, right? So there is a reason why we're having this situation with that soul, with that spirit. And we have to deal with that situation in a positive way. We shouldn't try to avoid the situation. We should try to treat that human being with the same respect that we want to be treated, right? We shouldn't avoid this person and who knows, talk bad behind his back. That's not the way that we should deal with that, right? And of course, if we have some debts to pay, let's try to pay here while we are incarnated on planet Earth, because we know that God is merciful and God is right. And if we do something bad to somebody or a group of people or something like that, we'll have to expiate. We'll have to be we reap what we sow, right? So whatever we do, we'll have to expiate so we can go. So God gives us the opportunity to make amendments with our brothers that might not sound very easy to deal with, but it's a situation that if we are here on planet Earth going through this situation, is because God knows that we can go with that, right? God is not going to give us something that we're not going to be able to tolerate, or something that we cannot handle. Everything that all the challenges that we get might not look very easy for us, but make sure that if we are having this challenge here, it's because you can deal with that. So the act of forgiveness is an act of goodness generally. There is both a spiritual and a material effect. So when we talk about forgiveness, we have to, for us that are spiritists, it's easier for us to understand that death doesn't free us from our enemies. If we did something wrong with a person, God forgive us, we help that person to disincarnate or something really, really bad like that. We have to understand that with the death of that person is not going to be something that will free us from our enemy, right? That person will be there. and we'll have to make amendments in the future with that person, right? So it's the same thing that people, they think about suicide, right? No, if I kill myself, all my problems are gone. That's a very, very bad mistake. But we hope that for most of the people that follow the God's teachings, it's something that we shouldn't ever question about it, right? We know that if we take somebody's life or our own life, we are going to have a serious problem in the future, right? And of course, because of the law, cause and effect, we'll have to expiate that, right? Every action, there is a reaction, so let's try to avoid bad actions. So let's go again through this one from Matthew. Therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and reconciliate to your brother, then come offer your gift. So back then, of course, they had the rituals that they would offer something to God or offer something to whatever they believe it was some kind of God, right? But the message here that Matthew wrote, that was a gift from God through Matthew, from Jesus through Matthew, it's that God doesn't care about what you have to offer there in an altar. It doesn't make any difference. What makes a difference is how you treat your brothers. Do you treat them with respect? Do you treat your brothers the way that you want to be treated? That's what matters. So before you think about I don't know, I'll go to church and I'll do charity and I'll make donations. Make sure that those actions, of course, they're all noble actions, right? But make sure that the small things that goes maybe unnoticed on your day-to-day activities are in line with those thoughts as well, right? Let's make sure that we don't have anything against our brothers, and we don't leave any incentive for our brothers to have something against us, right? That's what really matters. Of course, make sure you do your homework, right? Stay in peace with yourself and the people around you first. If you're not in peace how do you want to spread forgiveness, right? If you are a person that is like a troublemaker and you're always judging people and I don't know, challenging people on a bad way, how do you think that you're going to be able to exercise the forgiveness? It's not going to happen, right? And that's why on the very first slides we talk about forgiveness and mildness, right? They go hand in hand. It's very important that we understand that we have to be mild, we have to be forgiven, we have to be forgiveness, we have to be, go again, we have to forgiven, right? So another one from Matthew here. It's a good one. I like this one a lot. When you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye, how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You're a hypocrite. First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So when you talk about this passage here, it's so much easier to see our same bad behaviors on other people, right? It's really, really easy to see. When you see, if you are on traffic, if you get like really, really in a bad mood with traffic, and you know somebody that gets really moody with traffic as well, you're gonna say, man, you shouldn't be doing that, you know. What's wrong with you? Why traffic bothers you that much? You shouldn't do that. And then you get bothered with that traffic, right? So this is the little things that before you start thinking about that, before you start talking about other people and judging about other people, let's take a step back and think about, are we doing the same thing? Probably yes, right? Because if this is something that bothers you, it's probably because you do the same mistake, or you have the same bad habit, right? This is a very, very nice picture that I found on the internet. So the guy with the plank on the eye was taking the sawdust from the other one, and the one with the bigger piece of wood, so he was making fun of both of them. Right? So it's pretty much what we do on a daily basis, but we don't pay attention to it. So let's see, maybe we can start thinking about that before we start judging other people or talking about other people's defects. And then this one is another one from John. If any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw my stone at her. Against he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At his, those who heard began to go away one at a time. The older one first, until Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. Go now and live your life of sin." So this is one that's very, very, it's very related to forgiveness, right? So if you think about judging people and especially how can you judge somebody if you have the same defects or even worse issues than this person is those actions that this person is going through happen, or the consequences, whatever, right? So this is the why I put this slide just after the one about the plank, so it's pretty much in line with the same line of thought. So before you judge, think about yourself. Make sure you're not making the same mistake. And something that we have to understand, that here on Earth, on the average, we are pretty much on the same evolutionary level, right? And if you think on of course, there were people way more evolved, and when you see people like that, it's so clear, it's so easy to see. It doesn't matter what religion you're talking about, right? We had Catholic people that were extremely evolved and easy to see. We had Spiritists that were evolved. We have Mahatma Gandhi, very evolved spirits. And you start thinking about, so is that a right religion? Or is there a relation? Oh, because these people goes to this church, so that's the way to be safe or to evolve. And then you start realizing that there is no bad religion, right? All the religions, they're going to be talking about treat others like you want to be treated, do charity, respect your God, and those are going to be pretty much the same principles, right? And then you think about, no, I have to choose a religion to myself that will free myself from any kind of pain, any kind of issues that I have. And this is not true. By the time that you understand that it doesn't matter what kind of religion you choose, the person that will be able to save you is yourself. This is what it makes you to change. This is what drives you to change, right? So let's see if we can keep that thought as well. So talking about thoughts, I have some closer to the end, some 3 actions there. So we're going to be talk about thoughts, behaviors, and then the last one, actions. So how many times must I forgive? There is no limit for forgiveness, right? We shouldn't put a limit to say, okay, I'm going to forgive you once. Or maybe you say, okay, I'll give you 3 forgiveness. That's all you have. After that, we're done. We're not going to ever talk again. Not the way to deal with the situation like that, right? So behavior, tolerate, be tolerant, right? Today we would like to talk about tolerance, that pleasant brotherly feelings and each other of you should have towards other people. So let's try to be tolerant, right? Let's understand that sometimes people make mistakes, but it's because they don't know better. The same way that we make mistakes. Here on earth, we already know that even the spirits that are evolved, they also make mistakes. Not the same kind of mistakes that we average people commit, but they also make mistakes. We are not perfect here on earth, right? If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. We would be on other kind of planets. So let's try to be tolerant. The same way that we want God to be tolerant with us, right? So let's see if we can be tolerant with your brothers as well. So when you criticize, the person in question should conclude that you are not blaming this person, but showing that this person is better than that and can also show it next time. So sometimes you are in a position that you might have to criticize, and there is no way that you cannot escape for being a critic of something. Maybe you are a boss and you have to deliver your work, or you have to in question that if somebody does a work that might cause some harm to another person or to a group of people, that you have to be critical about it, right? So in situations like that, the behavior that God expects from us is that it's okay to criticize. But what we have to keep in mind is that when we are being this person, we shouldn't be a person that will put the other person down, that you're not gonna. We have to criticize, telling how this person can do better, and make sure that we try to encourage these people to do the right thing, not right to say, no, you did wrong and this is all your fault. That's not the way to go. So always try to show the right way to do it. If you don't do, tell this person, this might not be the right way to do it, but maybe we can help each other and find a better way to do it, right? But make sure that you do it with your heart wide open and without embarrassing this person, right? That's what Jesus expects from us, right? Again, treat your brother the same one that you want to be treated, right? So it's a very good way to do it. So actions. Have you thought about removing the plank from your own eye today? Let's be vigilant with ourselves and make sure we don't point fingers. Our pride can make us forgetful about misbehaviors and wrongdoings. Again, if you were on the lecture that we had on Saturday, Julio, he was talking about how pride can deceive our own judgment, right? Sometimes you are. When I talk about pride, I talk on the bad connotation of the word, right? And we might become too full of ourselves, thinking that we are better than everybody else in our circle of work, or in our work, or with the circle of friends, or inside your house, and we forgot that we make mistakes and we have misbehaviors, right? So let's think about that as well. Before you start criticizing your coworker, your boss, think about, if you were on that situation, would you really have a different behavior? Would you think that People sometimes talk really bad about your boss, but in order to do that, you do on a way that you shouldn't be doing. You do like a bad kind of criticism, and most of the times if we were on the other people's shoes, we will probably be doing the same mistakes, the same wrongdoings, right? So let's think about, let's not forget that we are not perfect. Let's not forget that we have misbehaviors. And before we start judging everybody else, let's make sure that we don't have mistakes. If you think about, by the time that we are able to say, I have no misbehavior, I'm telling you, you're not going to be judging other people because of that. So remember, we are accountable for our actions. Everything we do, there is a reaction. Everything. Not talking about only bad things, good things as well, right? And again, our evolutionary development is our own responsibility. Of course, you might have a religion that will help you to see things with a different point of view. You might have another person that you can rely, and that person will help you to see the situation or treat issues that you are going through with another point of view, with a more positive point of view, right? But at the end of the day, you are the only responsible for your own evolution, right? No question about it. We cannot put ourselves in the position of a victim that is just sitting there waiting for other people to change their behavior. So we're going to take advantage of that, right? This is not the situation that we want to do. If you have problems, if you have trials, you have to go through them. If you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it later, right? So let's do the smart way and try to deal with all of them, being peaceful, being humble, and we'll be able to ace that. So this is the last slide. It's a passage that we got on the chapter 10, the Spirit's teachings. Dear friends, be critical of yourselves, but always tolerant of others' weakness. This is the practice of saintly compassion, a way of life which, unfortunately, not enough people embrace. Everyone has negative tendencies to overcome, faults to correct, and bad habits to change. Everyone has a burden to get rid of before claiming the mountain of progress. And that is pretty much it. Thank you very much.